This is DJ Crew, Mr. Variety 68, whatever you want to call me, and you're watching EcoCycle. Why EcoCycle? Because it's an electric bike, and that's eco-friendly, right? If you can't hear me, sorry, I'm not rich enough yet to put on a mic. Every external mic I've tried doesn't work. I've got one new one, but at least I have a camera this day. So if you watched my last video, that was all on my helmet camera. Do not send me messages about poor quality. I know it was poor quality, but I was 2 hours away. It wasn't like I could just run home and get my camera. So we do have a camera today, and we are back on the the Utopia Carbon Fusion Max. It is dual motor, dual battery. Does not come with dual battery, but it is dual battery. Torque sensor goes up to about 30. So yeah, like I say, and it has your old standard 7-speed shimmy zone crap ass shifters. That could be replaced. It does have great hydraulic brakes, and it has really nice front hydraulics. It's a great bike. I rode it on the Mopec, on the last bit of the Wabash gravel rock road, bumps, bridges. Rode really well. We're going to take it today on another gravel road. You'll see it behind me. This is the final end of the Mopec East, 17 miles into a large city, second largest city in Nebraska, called Lincoln. And we're riding out of Eagle, Nebraska today. It was the last part that I hadn't finished on this trail last year. It was my last ride. I got halfway through it, but time zone had changed, as I said in my last video, where it was getting dark at like 5:30, and I decided to turn around and come home. So we're going to finish that off today. So that'll be the ride for today. Hope you guys enjoy it. Again, like and subscribe. DJ Crew 68, Mr. Variety 68. Heck, I never know what it's going to show up as. I put it as Mr. Variety 68 originally, changed it to DJ Crew. Camera's fallen down twice. Hopefully this camera won't be broken. Actually, probably going to get another one of these. If you ever need a good camera like a GoPro, get Akaso. Their camera's just as good as the GoPro, and it's far cheaper. As far as water resistant, they've both been proven. You're going to get some water in them. So yeah, let's get ready for this ride and have a good time. Again, like and subscribe. Welcome to all the people, e-bikes over 50, e-bikes over 60. I'm over 50. Welcome to people on the Utopia groups, people on Facebook, wherever you may be. I'm in many, many groups. If you ever want to ride with me and you're in the Nebraska area, I'm not like these jerks. Of course, I don't got a lot of followers, but even if I had 1 million followers, if you asked me to ride and I was available, I'd ride with you. It's no big deal to me. Yeah, so let's get on it. But there's the start. I don't want to say start, because over there is where you would come in out of Eagle, and this is the start of heading towards Lincoln. Again, it's going to be a 17-mile ride, and that's there and back. Eventually, I need to have a friend that does ride with me so I can have cars at both ends, so I can start doing these 100-mile trails and not having to worry about it. Because once you do 100 miles in 2 or 3 days, you don't want to turn around and go back. You just want to go home. All right, with that said, let's start this video. All right, so here we go. We're on this. God, I can't get over with the saddlebags. On the start of the trail here. And basically, if my camera's not that good, tough crap. So, a little bit of history. This is, if you watch some of my other videos, I've been on this trail, but not this part. You got what's called the Mopec West, which goes out of Louisville, which is closer, actually out of Springfield, through Louisville, and then kind of rides the highway, and then you have a really nice river bridge, reconstructed so that all the framework and the trains and everything. But then you get up to an area and it's a trailer park and it cuts off. And you got about 8 miles with no trail, and then you come over here to a small town, basically, talking about ghost town, it's not even incorporated, it's like a one-horse town, and there are horses there, horse area, and then you get on what's called the Mopec Crest. And the funny thing is, I believe the town's name is Wabash. And this was all developed when the Missouri Pacific Railroad, 2 railroads were united and came out here. Now, I can already see to the right that they got the fire hydrants, they got all this road built. They're planning on putting in more houses. I want you guys to see this, where I'm at. This was all farmland, grassland, water tower area. Now look at it. And they're going to have a little road for their people to come up on here. It's so funny because I'm literally like 60 miles out, I'm sorry, 35 miles out of Omaha, or actually farther than that out of Omaha. But yeah, even out here, they're building new homes. So when people give you these videos like Joe and Nick and Wise Guy, they give great videos, but they show small towns, they're, even by census, they're falling apart. Well, you also got to look at where they are. Nebraska is constantly growing. And that's why I've gotten a lot of good bikes as a dealer for good pricing, because there's not a lot of bike companies out here, and they're starting to look at the numbers and going, you're right, we don't have anybody. Hell, they don't have anybody half the time even in Kansas City or Minneapolis, which are huge cities. But with where I'm at, I'm 3 hours from Kansas City, 3 hours from Des Moines, 6 hours from Minneapolis. Granted, I don't think so by bike and stuff, but still. But anyway, getting back to the history. So, again, it's part of the Rails and Trails, for those of you on the Rails and Trails Facebook page. And, again, this was very Pacific Railroad. I'm assuming probably it's the next following down to the Wabash. And it would travel people, mostly people coming from Colorado into Omaha, trading cattle. A lot of people, if you want to look it up, Omaha, Nebraska, have a huge cattle industry. That's why we're also got Omaha steaks and all that. We're known to have the best steaks. I don't care where you're at in America. The best steaks in America. And hell, you go overseas, a lot of times they brag, we got Omaha steaks. Anyways, this actual railroad ran until 1984. Now, that doesn't sound like you go, well, 1984, that's a while ago. But you gotta realize most of the railroads that I ride on the trails, those railroads were purchased in the 50s, 60s, 70s, like the Wabash. Because they were passenger trains only, for the most part. I mean, there was obviously some transportation, but they were known for passenger stuff. So when the passengers started riding passengers, cars, planes, their business got cut in half. Yeah, they could still do the trades, the iron, the coal, the beef, but it got less. So anyways, this one closed in 1984. To be honest, the only reason it closed was there was a major flood, knocked out half a track. And I don't know how many miles the track it knocked out, but they just chose not to rebuild it. So it still stayed a track and everything, just not used until the 90s when it got bought up. Here's one of our first passages. Woo! Farm road. These tires, by the way, on a Utopia are not built for hard gravel, thick gravel, or for dirt, hard, muddy dirt. It's built for this kind of gravel, roads, things like that. Which this is a demo bike, so it sucks I'm not going to wash it, but whatever. Anyway, so when it was bought, it's still around, just like everything else, even though there's been over $1.8 million put in a project just in the Nebraska area to fix it. Now, the problem with Nebraska is, unlike some other states, and I'm sure there's other states just like Nebraska, they maintain the trail okay. But when it comes to trailheads, there's never bathrooms, never any bike stations. No can be. That's why I want to ride the Cowboy Trail, which goes out of York, I believe, which is 4 hours from my home, and then goes all the way down into Kansas or Missouri and ends, but probably goes farther than that. That's the main of it. It's 127 miles. But again, nice trail, but it's not maintained very well. You get a lot of pop tires, and again, no cities. At least on this one, there are 4 small towns. Not as good as Wabash, but good enough. And 2 major cities, because if you ride this proper, you'll go from Lincoln to Omaha, which roughly the route that they take, because it goes outside and everything, not straight to the city, it's probably about 80 miles. But again, like I told you earlier, 10 miles of that, there's no trail. Again, that's the Mopec West, Mopec East. And we're on the Mopec West. And we're going to finish this trail today and end up in Lincoln. City I used to go to a lot when I was in the National Guard. And haven't been there. To be honest, even though it's only an hour and a half away, or an hour away from where I live now, haven't been there in like, I don't know, 15 years. Yeah, you can look that up. Again, this is called the Mopec West Trail in Nebraska. Look it up. Pretty interesting facts. Again, joining up with other railroads and part of the Great American Railroad. Now, this trail I don't like, just like the Mopec East, it'll ride right along the highway, some of it. This one doesn't ride along the highway, but you have to cross a highway. And there's literally no stop signs or anything. And there's a lot of traffic. Again, I don't know why. I know where I'm at, but I do believe this area might be getting popular because it's halfway between Omaha and Lincoln. And so you're getting the metro people from Omaha and Lincoln that have money moving out here. Maybe originally because it was cheaper. Now it's not cheaper. Not much anyways. I don't like coming through here. See, like this guy's house, you probably didn't see it in the video, but he's got a really nice house, probably built 20 years ago. He's got some land and everything. Probably only paid $200,000, if even that. Today, it's probably worth over close to $2 million. So we're just going to ride a little bit here, and we'll do some more talking. I'm not going to stop video as much like I usually do. We'll hear some music. Maybe hear some new Xnito music. Or just some new music. I try to play some good bands. If you ever wonder why you get louder music and you get band, I try to advertise some bands on here that I like because I used to be an online DJ. But then I've been limiting it because some of the bands, even though they agree, their publishing companies keep putting copyright on. And they're arguing with people like, and I'm like, and they'll say, well, it's our company. A.K.A. Silver Nightmares. Some people cheating right there. I could forget to do that. Because I'm so new to a lot of these. Like, I've only been on this side once. And I don't know all the tributary farm roads. So I cheat a couple miles down. That's a bike there. You see that electric bike? That's kind of like the original bike I rode most of my missions last year. It's called the Magic Cycle Jaguani Band. I don't think that was a Magic Cycle, but in my opinion, at the time, Magic Cycle, those types of bikes, were probably, in my opinion, top end. I know a lot of people are disagree. They're talking about green or juice. Don't even talk about Amazon, the track. Come on. There's all of those stores out, and you're just paying for the name. The only good thing about those bikes is you do have a lot more repair options. But any bike I sell, I can fix, or I can find a way to fix. All right. Well, I tried to cut out some video. We just got through riding a whole stretch of a mile and a half. No trees, so pure sunlight. And we're about 80 degrees today with no wind. This is one of the only little tunnels they give us. Most of the time they make me drive across the highways, and that sucks. But again, it looks like another entrance right here to the right. I could drive down here. One thing I'll say is a Sunday, and I've seen about 7 people on bikes here. So I'm going to say that this isn't very occupied. Not as much as the first half of the Wabash Trace, which has a lot more dog walkers, hikers, runners. Especially seeing how close some of these homes are. Like I said, it's mostly farmland, but every now and then I see a stretch for a couple homes. Now, behind me right now, we have a huge golf course. Again, it's probably a few miles out of the city, and that's why it's out here, but that's kind of cool. I hope no one slices their ball. I don't know if you guys can see. I'm going to try to get you a shot there. Hopefully you can see a little bit. But there's a golf course right there. The other, I mean, other than, you know, all the negatives, I don't want to just come across negative, but on the plus side too, like when you go to Wabash, the first part does have a few little mountain bike trails on the side. If you don't look at some of our videos, you'll see me try a few of them. Again, I'm not a mountain biker. But this trail caters to horses, equestrian riders. So off the side, really running with the trail, and the trail is full of horses. Every now and then they have to jump up onto this main trail. But for the most part, they can ride the trails, and this one actually has signs. They can ride the trails without having to jump on. I don't know if you saw it right there. There was a horse trail after the bridge, so a horse trail path. So the horses would have had to come up and go over that creek. No big deal. The first time I rode on Mopec East, I actually did go behind 4 or 5 horses. Which, of course, if you know anything, you can't honk your horns or whistles or alien attack sounds. We have loud music, we'll freak the horses out. And I know some of you are probably horsemen and say, oh no, no. Well, maybe if you're highly trained and you train your horse around that, it's fine. But let me tell you, you're going to say 25, 30 miles an hour, you get behind the horse and go, woo woo! That horse rears up and kicks you in the fucking head, you're dead. Yeah, she's right there, you can see it. To the right. My video's not wide angle enough. I have to always turn to show you. Trying to see if I can find another. And it's weird too, because it's not always on the right. Sometimes it's left, sometimes it's right. So you have to be clear. See, right there, horse crossing. Okay. Here's an example. I know it's not there, but back there was a sign that said horse crossing. So the horses will come out right here and get on the trail. Now, they'll actually come up here and end up in this piece of trail, this grass, and move down there. Sad thing for those guys, that one looks nice, but most of the path is pretty much about as wide as my bike, which means you're not galloping your horses. But yeah, okay, this is my second long ride this year so far. Because it's been so freaking rainy and windy, I haven't been able to get out on long rides, so I'm not videotaping my short rides. The only time I do that is if I got something else to videotape with it, like a city or a town, which I don't have in this video. Tomorrow, I'm off this week, so I think I'll be making a lot of videos. But then, by the time you see it, it may be a month later because I have to edit. Now see, this isn't too bad, but again, another crossing. There's a dirt road, but then there's the highway that curves over. And of course, like I said, you got the golf course, and starting to see some buildings around here, baseball fields. Again, because we're on the outskirts of a major city, again, the second largest city in Nebraska. So it's around, I haven't looked at the census on it, but last time I looked it up, I think it was 540. But that was years ago, so I'm going to say it's about 600,000 now. But if you go with Metro, you're probably still looking at close to 1 million. And again, there's a lot of places to park. Like right here, they finally do have a bathroom. Sorry, can you tell me what this area is? I know what the trail is, but what would this area be? Like, so if I wanted to drive here instead of going all the way from like Eagle or...
Yeah, I take A Street all the way down until you see these guys. I don't know the exact spot.
Yeah, because I know on the map, you know, looking for trails, it doesn't show it down here. It shows it going into Lincoln, but the last big place is Eagle.
Yeah, it is the Mopec. So, like, I take A Street, 84th A Street, all the way down, and then I see this, and you go into this small town. I think this is Walton.
That's what I was going to ask you, because I said, we're getting closer to Lincoln, right?
Yeah.
So a lot of these are suburbias of Lincoln. Yeah. And that's the one thing I was talking about on my video, sorry. But on my videos, because I do a lot of trails all over, and I do rails to trails. And what I was talking about is how we're seeing a little more houses here. And even in Eagle, they're starting to build up.
Yeah.
It's just kind of like being, I'm from Omaha. It's kind of like Omaha, Ashland, Gretna. They were nothing years ago. Now they're expensive to live there.
Yeah.
It's because everything's expanding. And these trails were very farms, but with all the expansion, you know, you're getting a lot more homes and crap.
Yeah.
Which, in my opinion, can start to ruin the trail.
Yeah.
It's nice to have small towns to stop in when you're riding, like me. I mean, you know, because my car's way back there. So, you know, it's kind of nice to have somewhere to stop. But it's just getting too much. And that's why I was confused. I said, this has to have a town name. Because I said, we're not in Lincoln yet. So it's not like Cinnamon Creek.
Yeah, I think it's a tiny town called Walton.
See, that would make sense. Because the start of Mopec West, which is this, is Wabash, I think. Which is funny because the other trail in Iowa I ride is called the Wabash Trace.
Yeah.
And that's a town of like one farmhouse and a bunch of horses. But what's so stupid is, technically Mopec East and West were connected back in the day.
Yeah.
But now if you go on the, like if I go from Springfield, which is Mopec East, I can only go up past Louisville, and then it'll cut off, and you gotta take highway for like 5-8 miles. I'm like, and it doesn't have a pathway.
Yeah.
And I'm like, no. I'm not. So what I do is I drove my truck, I ride one part, go back, get in my truck, drive to the next part. I'm not driving on an interstate with a freaking bike. But yeah, I'll let you go. Sorry, I just trying to figure out my settings. You know, like if I'm in Omaha, I can tell you pretty much almost everywhere.
Yeah.
But when I started heading out this way, I used to drill in the guard out in Lincoln, but that was last time I was in Lincoln 15 years ago.
Yeah, I think this is the 3-mile marker of the...
Yeah, so we're pretty close, aren't we?
Yeah.
Cool. Well, thank you so much for your time. Have a very nice day. Thank you. Once again, that's Nebraska people. Nice hot looking shit. Gotta say that. But here's one trailhead that I didn't notice. I don't think I made it to this trailhead last time. But I don't know. Let me see if I can get this signage in. Hey, straw hat if you don't have a hat. Let's see. How focused we are. Okay. Y'all can see that? So, Mopec East Trail history. Mopec East Trail was named after the Missouri Pacific Railroad, Mopec, that's why it's called Mopec, railroad line that formed back in the corridor in 1886. The Mopec tracks were laid through the towns of Newhawk, Wabash, and Weeping Water, Elmwood, Eagle, Walton, and Lincoln, near the Salt Flats, just west of the Mopec rail line. It was largely due to the Mopec tracks being laid to some small towns, as you all know. You know, there's the second Wabash train depot, Wabash, Nebraska. It's not there anymore, believe me, I've been there. And that's actually on Mopec East. It was burned down in 1910. The crossing, Highway 34, just west of Eagle, was opened in 1947. That's where we were at, that big crossing. I'll show it to you on the way back, but that was the big crossing. That, see the train? Right now, there's a bunch of trees there, and there's literally a house to the left of where you see that train on the picture, and the guy owns the land. And like I said, it was a popular passenger train on the Mopec from 1940s to 1950s. So yeah, pretty cool. Train tracks were damaged by the flood in 1984, like I told you guys. And there's the Katy train. There's a great trail in South Dakota called the Katy Trail. But yeah, there you go. So that's a little bit about what we're seeing. So nice trail. But from here, people, because it's only 2 to 3 miles from Lincoln, now you're starting to see people that walk. Pretty nice though. Pretty freaking nice. I really like that. So with that said, all right, not sure if you can see that, but I've seen 2 or 3 of these still left, and you know I'm always thrilled if I see anything left from the railroad. And as you can see, these are old, you would think telephone lines, but to be honest, I believe they're telegraph lines when they would go doot, 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 send messages, Western Union. But I love it when they keep those up, but too many of these trails, they think that that's nothing, and they just let them go. In my opinion, you can only save, like, say, 2. Put some concrete around the base, clean them up, put some varnish, or not varnish, what the hell do you call it? Dye, not dye, what the hell am I thinking of? Oh, whatever, you know what I'm talking about. See, ending on the Mopec right here, we're in Lincoln. Now, there's still some trail left, so I'm going to go a little further. And on the way back, I do want to go through a little bit of this area just before here, show you some of these big houses. Now, this is the back end, like I was telling you guys earlier. A little rodeo there. People riding their horses, got a few stands. Again, we're not taking care of the park benches. Hi. I like looking at people. Nice houses over here. Pretty much all people cutter. Those are still running about 400,000. Now, we got to cross the highway again. Which I always hate crossing highways, guys. They actually stopped. There's a bike sign there. And that truck stopped for me. Normally people just don't pay attention. They'll just go right through it. But technically, what I like too about the Mopec is they have mile markers. If you hear me on my other videos, I complain about that all the time. The only other trail I've ever been on that had mile markers and told you what towns were coming up was the High Trestle in Des Moines. I love the High Trestle except that it's all concrete. It's not. You don't feel like you're riding trail. But it is pretty awesome. Again, everything, I don't really like Iowa. High tax state, jerky government. But I'm going to be honest, when it comes to bikes, in this area of the Plain States, they're probably one of the best. Now, I haven't been down in Kansas yet. Kansas has a great trail, or Missouri, it's the Katy Trail. No, I'm sorry, that's South Dakota. South Dakota, I think, is probably pretty good. Again, my trip this year, I'm going to either end up in one of those 2 places for my big trip. Every year, I'm going to try to do 100 miles. Last year, I did 2. Maybe you can tell this time I'm going to ride that Shadow Lake, or they call it the Whispering Lake. When I'm doing the mud track, I've seen a couple of those videos, so some of my first videos on bikes. Houses all around. And you can see tons of walkers, tons of bikes. Those are all close to home. Which I'm not. If I lived right on the trail, I'd be going on it every day. Again, right there to the right, the scenery is a cut through. Which technically, these trails have, I forgot what the law is called, but space on the right, space on the left, like an easement, where they're not supposed to cut through. So that builder to cut through, nobody said shit to them. But technically, they could be sued. Because even though they're building that market, they're not supposed to cut through the easement unless they got permission. Now, what I assume is going to be there eventually will be a small road to connect into this trail. But that's also why, if you look, you can't really see it because the way the camera's pointed. But off to the right, there's not many houses, and the ones that are coming up to us, their fence has to stop. Technically, I think some of those are over the limit. Again, there's so much crooked shit. These companies will be like going over the easement by 2, 3, 4 feet, and they'll be like, no one's going to say anything. But then when that owner gets hit with a freaking lawsuit and has to tear the fence down, he's going to be pissed. Because see, people like me do bitch about it. Obviously, there's a sign there about bluebirds. Alright, so technically, over there, about a mile back, it's the end of Mopec, but this is the actual end of the Mopec. We are actually in Lincoln. 17 miles of a ride today. Here's a sign. There's another trail, the old Cheney Trail, Billy Wolf Trail. If I go to the left, another 3.5, 4 miles. Which I've looked them up. They're not that long, but they look pretty neat. It sucks because Lincoln has more trails than Omaha. And this here they do a lot, and it's a restroom, big restroom, which is nice, and they make it like the old train stations. Now technically, this goes a little further into the actual city center, which we do have trails like that in Omaha. Again, look up my Berry Farms video. It's a big run to a taco run. It's in Omaha, and pretty cool. But basically, you could take this 5.1 miles more, which I'm not doing today, and you can head up into the UNL City campus. If you're thirsty or whatever, which I'm fine, but if you were thirsty, you could literally go 2 miles to the Westford Shopping Center, which is pretty cool, I think. So we're gonna take a quick break here. Alright, so once again, look me up on YouTube, like and subscribe, check out my TikTok, my Instagram. I think on Instagram though it's rock and roll God. I wasn't smart enough back in the day. I'm an old man. When I made these, I didn't have one tag for everything, so maybe I should streamline that, but it's what my whole 47 subscribers, I might lose some and have to regain them, right? Anyway, so as you can see behind me, that's where we came in at. Turn into pavement. And I'm using my phone so I can see what I'm doing, because last time I did this in Ashland, I cut my head off. Again, please like and subscribe. I know I say that too much, but you know, I don't get paid for this shit. And I do lots of rides. If you watch my videos, go watch them. Go back and watch and like my videos, please. Watch like 3 minutes. If you get bored, just like it and move on to the next. Find one that you like. But you got to watch for a couple minutes, otherwise it doesn't really count on the algorithm. But like I said, today we did 17 miles. I'm going to go ahead and ride back now. And if there's anything else we're seeing, I'll shoot it and I'll edit it into the video. But I don't think there is. I think I've caught everything. Again, I do have one more camera that I can use that I haven't used. I haven't used my helmet camera today, and I haven't, because that constantly goes off, and it's also poor quality. And I also have the DJI handheld, but obviously while you're riding, you can't use that. I'm taking that out with me when I do towns that are smaller, and we can do the towns too. Not going to spend the whole day like these other guys. That's their job. They do videos on towns. I'll just kind of highlight them. And eventually I'd like to get a drone, but drones are silly for me because I pop it up just to show you where I'm at for a few minutes. I don't know. They look cool, but in a lot of areas like this, you can't use them anyway. So, but yeah, so that's that. I'm going to have me a cold one. And as you can see, I do wear a helmet. Most people say, you don't need a helmet. Well, it's your choice. I don't care. I'm not going to be one that says you need one. I'll wear one. I've wrecked 4 times. That's why I'm wearing long pants. I've wrecked many times. I haven't wrecked on cement, but I've wrecked on the gravel a lot. Things I wrecked when I was mud biking. That's why I don't do it. Because I got hurt. and ruined the camera. What else was I going to say? Oh, and as far as price, this bike rode very well. Like I said, in the heavy gravel or mud biking, it's not for that. But if you're riding gravel trails, concrete trails, regular roads, and you want to go long distance and have a smooth ride, this bike is it. It runs roughly $2,500, I believe, on the website. Through me, it's going to be cheaper, depending where you live, obviously, because of shipping. And if you are in the Omaha area or can get here, I will sell you the bike and build it for you. Otherwise, I charge $80 for that normally. This bike that you saw today, the only thing on it that's not stock was the extra battery and the bags, because those are my bags. But yeah, it held up really good for the price. I'm really impressed with this bike. Again, it's Utopia. Check them out at newutopia.com. And I want to give a shout out to all my friends that do watch these. Also, again, like I said in my last video, tell me how to use an iPhone. Because every time I try to use an iPhone, because I don't have the DJI and I want to take pictures, I get that cropped image. I don't know how to make it full. Now, I know if I turn it sideways, it goes full. But I've also done that and didn't see it. And when I got home, it was upside down. And yeah, I can fix it in the video editor. But it's a lot more work. You know, being one guy, I have no people to help me. All this riding, the money, the cameras, getting everything set up, editing, getting them up on YouTube, trying to promote it. You know, I know some of you guys go, shut the hell up, Sean, but that's what I'm trying to do. I'm sick of young guys making money when I worked my whole life and I can't even make $100. Come on. So help a guy out. But I think I covered everything. And you can check me out at www.ecocycleusa.com if you want to see the bikes. Bikes that you'll see there are only bikes that I'm carrying currently or that I have. So, with that said, and that was the thing telling you that it's shut off. This, again, this bike, like I said, does have anti-theft, thumb touch or finger touch turn on, warns from your phone, has GPS, everything in this thing. It's a bomb. It's got a Bluetooth speaker. Obviously, I don't use it when I'm riding with you guys, but it does have one. Normally, though, I use my helmet Bluetooth because it stays just with me. But yeah, I appreciate you guys coming along for the ride. Till the next one, peace, love, and rock and roll, man.